Now, as times are changing, obviously gender roles are changing, and people, want to live their own lives. People want to pursue their own destinies. We're far from the ages where women used to rely on their husbands and their fathers to control money, to have jobs. We are seeing a new age of empowered women, CEOs, people in charge of businesses, people thriving, female entrepreneurs. We're seeing it all. But we also have other women who really enjoy, traditional way of life. And I even saw this video recently on the internet where somebody was saying, I think the feminist movement kind of tricked me. I am no longer for it because why am I waking up at 5 a.m. to go to a job and coming back at 9 p.m. and then sleeping for a few hours, and the rotation is just too much. I want to go back to where my husband was providing for everything. The feminist movement, they tricked me somewhere. So we've been seeing all these debates online. But empowered women have actually taken a tangent where they seem to be attacking women who'd rather, have a traditional way of life. We've seen people mom shaming, especially when it comes to stay-at-home moms. You've seen it on the internet. A stay-at-home mom will do a day in my life and will do a video of her cleaning, cooking, picking up the kids from school and everything, taking a nap in the middle of the day because she can, and somebody in the comment section will be like, thank God I have a job so I don't have to stay home doing nothing. I'm like, what? These two women are putting in their work differently. One woman is relying, or rather, being given a lifestyle by her partner. All she has to do is just take care of the basics. The other woman is going out there, getting her own money, doing her own thing. And, it feels like empowered women feel like they are better than women who have accepted traditional gender roles. So that's the debate going on. What do you think about it?
First of all, what you mean getting their own money? If it is his money, it is our money. What are you talking about, baby girl? His money is our money. That will always be the sentiment for me. But I feel like I am digressing. We've heard the statements. We've heard go boss, CEO. Because of the CEO. Yes, queen. Doing your thing. Independent. Because I'll never forget listening to news. This independent girl. We were scammed, guys. Yeah, personally, I feel like I was scammed.
It's a scam.
I was scammed because I don't understand why. Okay. There's a difference between working hard, getting your own, and wanting to be out there making your own money. But I think the problem is we have learned to forget when it is okay for you to also relax. That's the problem. That's the problem. And because you have been forced into this conformity, you have been forced into becoming independent, into becoming this bad bee who's constantly getting her ish together. And you got your own coins, girl, get your bag, strong black queen, yes, bee. It's gotten us to a point where you're almost resisting someone else wanting to take care of you. There's almost an anxiety that you form, because you're like, there's something about someone else just like taking the leading role and like taking care of things that can be it can plague you. It can cause you discomfort, physical and even sometimes otherwise. Like you can't just accept that someone else can do it. Someone else can actually pick up the slack. Now, when it comes to that point where you're almost fighting, you're almost combative, like you want to be the one to screw in the light bulbs, you want to be the one to lift the heavy stuff and move the furniture around. When it starts to feel like, yeah, I have to do it because I can, that's where I think the problem lies. There's nothing wrong with letting someone else do the thing that they're supposed to. Why would your 6'2" hunk and built man be chilling as you're dragging a couch and moving a fridge? Physically, physics dictates that you are fighting against physics. Let the person with the power do what they need to do. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Why would you be forcing yourself to be the person hammering things in the bathroom because somehow you feel like you have to do it? if there is someone there, your partner, for example, has done this before, why not just let him do it? I don't understand that combative nature of it all. And in the same way, I also don't understand when the genders are reversed and then men feel like, yeah, I can do it too. And then it also starts to become combative where, yes, he will do the dishes, he'll do the cleaning, he'll do all of these things to a point where, what are you doing for me? You know, what can you do? I can do my own dishes, I can do my own, I can cook for myself. What do you bring to the table? That
debate of the
combativeness, yes, when it comes to that point, ball of contention where none of us is willing to like let go and let the other person take the lead in whatever capacity, that's where I take problem with.
I think the conflict comes in because people grew up in different homes. The people who grew up where they saw a stay-at-home mom living her best life. You know, she was taken care of. The man did things. He put in the work. This woman was comfortable. She raised her children, and it was beautiful. And it all comes down, I think, a little bit to race. We have seen white women who will be straight out of high school and all she wants to be is a stay-at-home mom because she has seen that work. It has worked very well. You know, my mom stays home, raises the kids, is part of the HOA, goes shopping. You know, she's just
yoga and a juice.
Exactly. She
shop.
is in her feminine and she is thriving and all is good. And then we come back to the black people where this woman has to take care of everything because you grew up in a place where you've seen the evidence of damage, where if a woman depends on a man too much, he's going to do her dirty, you know. If you depend on a man, he's going to leave you and your children and you're going to suffer. So you grew up in an environment where you saw your mom suffering. So no time will you allow somebody to take over and do things for you because there's a chance that this person may leave you. So you're very quick and you're very determined to provide everything for yourself. And there's no bad thing about it. There's no horrible thing about that. It is good when you can do it all on your own. But the problem comes in when you start shaming people who would rather not. When you start shaming people who would rather conform to, I will let the man do it. That's where the conflict is.
I think another one is, as I think I've mentioned this before, as I was talking before, and I'm talking about guilt, shame, and fear. Those three are like the worst things that could happen to any person, especially with women, because it's traditionally we've seen this happening. Like it's not like Turi has just given us two very good examples. Traditionally, we've seen that black people had to work hard and their black wives had to work harder because if this man has 3 jobs, he can barely support us. I probably need to go and find another job so that I can add to the family kitty, that I can make sure that children are fed, our children are okay, they're doing all right. But at the end of the day, that role thing where it's become so clear that men are the finders, men are the ones who go and get the food, men are the ones who go and, you know, get that bag, and your work is to come. And we've seen this happen. I think we've heard this statement a lot more. If you bring me what you have, I will multiply it. Women are supposed to multiply what is given to them. See, that notion already, it's like you should never go and find whatever it is you need to find. Let it be brought to you and then you multiply it. Give me a house, I'll give you a home. Give me, you know, a bag of groceries, I'll give you a meal. Give me, you get, it's like you have to be given. You're always at that point where it's like, yes, give me, I will do. Give me, I will multiply. And unfortunately, men have also gotten very used to then being the givers, and then whatever happens, happens, you know. I gave you a house, why aren't you making it a home? I gave you these groceries, why aren't you making food? I gave you all of these things that you're supposed to then bring together and then make this beautiful thing, because again, our roles have been very clear in the past. Now, the problem is when you get into a relationship where these roles are not necessarily as they are. I remember the first time I got to, I started living with my fiance, and he would just wake up and do dishes. And I could feel in my body, I could feel discomfort. I would literally spring, I'm asleep, I will spring out of bed and go and do the dishes. Why? Because it is so deeply ingrained in me that a good wife, a good fiance, a good girlfriend will have to wake up and do dishes, will have to be the one cooking, will have to be the one. And so it took so much out of me. Mind you, it's not like that is the way I was brought up, but I have heard it over and over and over again. Every podcast you listen to, every YouTube video you listen to, every church service you go to and you listen to, a wife should take care of the husband. So it's been ingrained in me so much that I'm finding it difficult to actually let this person just do their thing. And it would almost again be like a fight, like, why are you doing the dishes? And I just like doing dishes. What's the deal here? You know, it's almost like you are making me lose my identity as a woman in this home, right? He cooks, I am just over there now scrubbing all the dishes that I've just, you get. So it's a role that is very difficult, but it has to get to a point where now you are okay with it. You're like, all right, cool, you do you, I'ma do me. And you don't have to be the one who's always going and shopping. We don't always have to use your money to shop. I can always use my money. Now, those disturbances, those little guilt, shame, and all these other things attached to your personality as a woman or as a man can be huge barricades in your success in this newfound relationship. So try and figure out what is that darkness inside you. Are you doing it out of guilt or shame? Are you doing it out of fear, or are you just merely stuck in your own ways? And then you will understand your motivation to either be independent or to be a home person, like a housewife. You decide for yourself.
And speaking about losing identity, some people have formed their identities on traditional gender roles, where you've seen people who grew up saying a woman cooks and cleans, a mother is this and this and this. So you find somebody got to a certain age and they lost all their personal identity, and now they identify as a mother, as a wife, as a caregiver, as the home owner, as the home carer. And you're like, but what do you do for fun? You know, who were you before you became a mother? Who were you before you became a wife? And that loss of identity can sometimes become resentful when you see other women who are out here doing anything they want to do, going to the club, you know, because they have the money and the freedom. And that's the thing with empowered women. Empowerment comes with the freedom to do anything I want, you know. I can wake up one morning and say, I'm going to Jamaica on a 7-day cruise. Nobody will ask you about it. You have the money, you have the resources, you have the time because you work on your own schedule. But when you're stuck in traditional gender roles where you have to be somebody's mother, somebody's wife, you just can't up and leave and quit. So sometimes there's a bit of resentment where somebody who's lost their identity to these gender roles just thinks, you're just wasting your life. You know, these women are siku easy. Why can't you settle down and find a man? Why are you always out here perambulating? Why are you always... Because you just can't reconcile that a woman can be out here doing all these things on her own. But that's the thing with empowerment. I have the freedom to do everything and anything because who gonna check me?
Nobody.
You know, who will ask me?
Nobody.
Who do I have to answer to? Absolutely nobody. So I do understand where that conflict can come in, where somebody who's been stuck in some type of way of life will look at you and say, that's not how you should do it, you know. Find yourself a husband, you know. Your fertility window is closing. Please settle down. And when you tell them you don't want children, they're like, oh, how could you? You know, the audacity of human beings these days. You know, you find all those, you know, when your auntie says something, you're like, damn, you know, what age are you living with? Or your auntie says, it's time for you to have a husband. You see the way you're having love handles, hiyo ni menopause inakuja. And you're like, wow, where did that come from? Because I'm not bothering anyone. I'm not harming anyone. I'm just living my best life. So why did you come up with that? It's just that they've lost identity. They don't know anything beyond being a wife, a mother, a caregiver, and that's it.
And on the other hand, there is now the learning of independence. I think, I don't know whether I've mentioned this story, but I feel like I have. I remember one time I was home, back home in my parents' house, and the gate was looking a little you know, a little washed up a little bit. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go and pick up some paint and I will come and do this myself. Why? I honestly don't have the money to pay anyone, and it can't be that big a deal. And so I gathered my strength and I went and bought my paint and I came and I started painting my gate.